Hey you guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin'. Today we're talking tackle, how we store our tackle, as well as what we're actually using. I'm gonna open all my lockers, walk you guys through what I store, how I store it, show you the actual baits that I have tied on this spring, and take a look at my new boat. Let's go. I'm so excited to get these locker lids popped open for you and walk you through the tackle and the gear. I want to show you, one, how I store my gear, two, what's really in the boat. A lot of people wonder, right? Is what you're talking about what's really in the boat? I'm just going to open up everything and just let you look at what's really in here. I'll show you the exact baits that I've got tied on every rod. Seriously, we're going to do it in just a minute. But before we do, I want to talk about the boat itself. Then we'll come back to tackle storage. And I'm going to talk not only tackle storage in the bass boat, but also how I organize tackle in my jet, or when I travel, or when I'm using a backpack, fishing the bank, because it's all a little different. But first, I want to talk about this boat. As some of you know, Tim and I both bought brand new Skeeters. Tim recently did an amazing walkthrough of his new FXR20. And he did an incredible job. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it down in the video description for you. Today is as good a time as any to show you guys my boat. I won't do as in-depth of a walkthrough because Tim did so good, but I'll show you some of the little things. I am sitting on an FXR21. This is the first new boat I have ever owned. I've never had a new boat in all these years. I have always bought used boats and then put all my time and money into restoring them. I love to do it. That will probably never change. So as you guys know, my main boat until right now was a Champ 210. My Champ 210 has not gone anywhere. I am not getting rid of it. I love that boat. I will have it forever. But that poor boat has been beat to death. And it needs I did a full restoration when I got it, and it's now rougher than when I got it, and it needs another full restoration. And we're not talking the little stuff. I just put brand new seats in it, about to do carpet. Carpet takes a day, right? You don't need to buy a new boat because your other boat needs some carpet. No, my Champ has been through the ringer. When we travel, we're so rough on our gear. There's no way around it. Road miles are brutal. The places we go are brutal. And then when we get on the water, my boat is a tool. For some people, their boat is their escape, right? You get out on a Saturday and you just escape and you float around and you relax. My boats are tools that I use to catch big fish and to teach other people how to catch big fish. As such, I put that boat into things it just has no business being in to get the job done. So my Champ, many of you don't know, I blew the transom on it last year. I mean, blew it. The whole back end of the boat had to be cut open, completely redone. Didn't even happen on the water. I destroyed it on a rough road in Wisconsin. It's now fully restored. Way stronger than it used to be. We added extra knees. I mean, it's so dialed. A local guy here named Ron just did a remarkable job with it. But now what I need to do with that Champ is I need to completely strip it. We need to get the motor off it. We've got to flip that thing over and completely redo the gel on the underside of the boat. Countless times we've been road tripping somewhere or even out here, and I'm up a creek someplace and I'm like, if I could just get over this log, if I could just get around that tree, I always send it. That's just the way I've always been. Well, that beats boats up. If you saw the underside of my Champ, it is so due for a full restoration. So that process is going to take months, which leads us to right here. I can't be without a bass boat for months and months and months, especially because those jobs can go a lot longer than you think. So with that in mind, and with the influence of Tim deciding he wanted a brand new Skeeter, I jumped too. So I went with the FXR21, and this boat is amazing. I love the ride, I love the storage, I love the layout. I've actually had quite a bit of time in the boat already. It just took me forever to get it rigged out. You guys know, if you've tried to work on a boat lately, how hard it can be to get electronics, to get parts, to get little stuff, right? If you want to change a latch, it might take you 2 months to get one. So it's been a process. Even a brand new boat, I wanted to change everything on it. So let me give you a quick walkthrough of the boat, just some of the little things that I did differently than Tim, because again, he went with an FXR20, I went with a 21. I'm not very imaginative, literally the same color scheme. If you see one of us on the boat, you have no idea which one it is. It could be either one of us. The boats are identical, but I did my layout a little bit differently. So let me grab the camera here and I'll show you. First off, the front of the boat, set up very, very similarly. Ultrex 360 live, and then I went with a Solix and an Apex, but I went smaller. Okay, I went with a Solix 12 and an Apex 13. If you go too small, it's too hard to see that stuff when you're standing way up above them. But if you go big, you add a lot of weight to the nose of the boat, and that will change how the boat rides. So I went with smaller units than I had on my Champion, just to take a little bit of extra weight out of the nose of the boat. Back here at the console, I did the reverse. I've been running a Solix 15, Humminbird Solix 15, and a Solix 12 since the first generation. On this boat, I have way more room. I was able to put a Solix 15 next to a Solix 15 for the first time ever. Brig at Hennessy Outdoors built all custom brackets for it. I mean, it's awesome. And it sounds insane to have two 15s, right? And maybe it is, but I'll tell you what, one, I'm pretty tall, and two, these seats sit pretty high in the boat. I can see my entire front deck. It is not blocking my vision whatsoever to have two 15s. And the user-friendly aspect of two 15-inch screens is amazing, right? I can run mapping on one, I can run other things on the other, split screens, you name it. And even when I divide my screen 4 ways, each screen is big enough to be really functional. So I'm so excited about that. It's the first time I've ever had it. And then back at the back of the boat, I went with Raptors, just like Tim did. Mine are currently deployed. That's what's holding us here. And then huge to me is that a brand new Yamaha Show 250 is bolted onto the back of this boat. That is everything to me. I have so much faith in my Yamahas. I run a Yamaha on my jet boat, also a Yamaha 4-stroke. The Show is an amazing motor. Tim and I both hung shows on our Champions a few years back. We repowered the boats. That, again, this is not the first time we've had to redo those boats. We both put shows on them. They've been incredible. I have not had my motor go down one time, and I think it's been 5 years. Don't quote me on that. I think it's been 5 years. Not one hiccup the entire time. So I was so excited to get a brand new Show on this boat. Other than that, the layout is very, very similar to Tim's. Everything else I did the same. Came with a stereo in it. I mean, crazy stuff that I would never put on a boat. But now that it's here, I'm like, I'll take it. Padded deck, unreal. Like 80% of my back pain at the end of the day has disappeared now that I'm standing on a padded deck. I will 100% pad my Champ when we redo the carpet. I love this boat. The ride has been fantastic. Coming out of a Champ 210, I was scared to death. I drove basically every big water boat there is. I went out and borrowed boats from so many different guys, ran them all, and then finally settled here in the 21. And I'm very impressed with it. It does really, really, like small chop, I would say it does even better than my Champ did. Big water, it does fine. And the biggest thing is it's extremely dry. And I mean like dry as a bone. When you're running that rough water and those waves come over the side, it's brutal. This is the first boat I've ever run where I'm not having any of that, like zero water coming over the side. Very impressed by that. So that is my brand new Skeeter. I'm super excited about it. I'm also excited to start the restoration on my Champ. That thing deserves its place. I mean, it's not getting retired. I'll probably destroy it again, but That poor boat. If one of these days I will stop and I'll back it in the garage and just leave it alone. It has earned its spot. With that said, let me set this camera back up. Let's jump into tackle. When it comes to tackle storage, everybody is different. And I'm even different depending on if I'm on the bass boat or my jet boat or going on somebody else's boat. I take a different approach to tackle. So we're about to open up this entire boat and look in it, but I grabbed this bag because this is really important too. This is my main bag out of my jet boat. And I want to run through this first, and then I'll open up this boat because you're going to see how different the mindset is. My jet boat has no storage. If you guys aren't familiar, I've got a 17-foot aluminum with a jet pump on it that we use to run in rivers and really shallow water. And it's just a boat that we just go and well, I've already admitted I thrash all my boats. It's the one that I don't feel guilty about thrashing. How about that? So on that jet, literally no storage, nowhere. Under the seat has like life jackets, the oar, you know, things like that. So there's no room left for tackle. So I ended up with these Busby bags. I bought one, loved it, bought another one. So I have one, which is this one that is my main storage on the boat. The other one gets changed out a lot. You know, if I'm throwing swim baits, I'll put a bunch of that stuff in there. Or if we're gonna go river fish and throw BFS stuff, it's all gonna be bait finesse. I'll rig those boxes. That goes in that second one. But this one pretty much remains untouched. Now, this bag is truly waterproof. This is a giant waterproof zipper on here. Waterproof, which is everything, because we take crazy weather out here in Tennessee. It can be sunny and then raining and then sunny again. And I love that my gear laying on deck, I literally keep it on deck, can be sealed up. So I'm just gonna walk you down through here. First one, this is a soft bag. They call them quick cubes. But the soft bag, I've got mag drafts, basically like Largo shads, Kitex, swammers, mag drafts. It's all my small swim baits. I just carry an assortment. It's not a lot of anything. You know, if I really got on a wide open bite for a couple of days, I would run out of baits. But I carry, basically what I'll carry is 2.8, 3.8, and 4.8 Kitex. And then the two smaller sizes of the swammer, and then 3-inch and 3.5-inch Largo shads, and then a couple of mag draft 6-inchers. That's all I keep in there. And it's just a hodgepodge of baits that will get me by, right? I can adapt to changing conditions. I can do virtually anything with this bag. I just can't do it for an extended period of time. The next one, again, another soft bag. I like these soft bags because I can cram so much into them. This is like Ned rigs, Senkos, shaky head worms, drop shot worms, flukes, chatterbait trailers. I think that's pretty much what's in there. I think I just covered the gamut. That's literally what's in that one. Then I do have a dedicated terminal box. Okay, this I can do literally anything with. I mean, anything. Drop shot hooks, wacky hooks, both standard wacky and weedless wacky, tube heads, shaky heads, drop shot weights, tiny Texas rig hooks, like for bait finesse. And then I carry all the way up to 5/0 wide gap, okay? Ned rig hooks, or Ned rig heads. Then I go tungsten. I go from 1/16 all the way to 1.5 ounces. Couple of wobble heads. And then this last compartment, which is just a hodgepodge, is gonna be like guppy heads, swim bait heads, like my tactical head, the tactical finesse head, the Matt Allen head, a couple small underspins, couple big underspins, right? It's literally just a grab and go of terminal tech. I mean, jet terminal. There you go. And then the last one, again, this is how I travel on the jet boat. This is how I travel when I go on a friend's boat. This is what I would carry if I was going to throw something in a backpack and I didn't know where I was going. This is what I refer to as a day box. Now, this particular day box is pretty dialed in for where I fish out of my jet boat, okay? So you gotta keep that in mind. But as I pop the lid on this box, I'll run you right through it. An S-Waver, 168. A mix of square bills and medium runners, like Rocco's. There's some Jackal in there, Spro, Mega Bass, the Bill Lewis, the ATVs, they're awesome. River to Sea Biggies. Our tactical DDs. Again, just a couple cranks. It's just enough that I can adapt to changing conditions. A couple of jerk baits, a couple of lipless, 2 kinds of blade baits. I throw a blade bait a lot. I mean, at times a year when other people stop, I'm still throwing a blade. Both the Damiki Vault and the Mega Bass, this little guy, both versions smash. The Mega Bass is more muted. The Vault is like more aggressive, and on any given day, one or the other will work. So that's one of those things where even in a day box, I have made room for both. And then chatterbaits and spinnerbaits. The spinnerbaits are buried under the chatterbaits, but I've got both full size and finesse spinnerbaits. Same with the chatterbaits. There's some jackhammers as well as some mini maxes. And then again, the trailers for the spinnerbaits and the chatterbaits, they're in that other one. That right there could represent, if you weren't insane like Tim and I and always on the road, this is enough for a guy to do literally anything. I mean, flukes, jerk baits, chatterbaits, chatterbait trailers, big swim baits, soft swim baits, glide bait, deep crank, shallow crank, like it covers it all. Ned rigs, tubes, Senkos, shaky heads. Like this one box, I can take this thing almost anywhere in the country. Now, yeah, there might be some oddball bite somewhere where I'm not set up perfectly, right? But generally speaking, anywhere in the country, I could grab this bag and go, and I'll be set for any situation. So that is the main bag that I keep in my jet. And then my other one gets changed out. Let me set this aside. We'll open up the bass boat. So the jet is all about simplicity, right? Because I have limited space for tackle. I try to bring a sampling of everything to get me by. The bass boat, whole different ball game. First thing, let me open all 3 of these so I can explain weighting and balance, okay? Hopefully you can see all this. What you need to know is I go my heavy tackle down the center, mixed soft plastics go off on the left, my rods are on the same side that I sit on. That's on purpose. That is about getting proper balance in my boat. A lot of people put their rods on their passenger side. The reason why they do that is if it's a single console like this is, there's nothing in the way of getting the rods in and out, right? It's much easier than doing it around a console. The problem, or the reason I don't do it, I should say, is that it's all about weighting. I fish alone quite a bit. Okay, when I'm doing that, I spend a lot of time idling, looking around, running up and down the lake. I'm sitting on this side of the boat. If I put heavy tackle on the same side that I sit on, my boat ends up lopsided. You might not think that's a big deal, but when it comes to side imaging, it can skew your view. When it comes to running rough water, it can beat you to death. A balanced boat runs so much better, so much better. You want to balance your boat if at all possible. So I always store my rods on the same side that I sit on. That way, if I'm out alone, the boat is as balanced as possible. We'll come back to that rod locker. I'm literally going to show you what I have tied on all my rods. We'll come back to this one too. I need somewhere to sit. All right, let's jump in here. I'm just gonna run you straight through my boxes. Probably the biggest thing, Skeeter came with an awesome tackle organization set in here. I'm gonna be honest, I took it out. It's awesome, but I'm fanatical. I don't own a normal amount of tackle. I have a problem. So I want to pack every square inch of space. So I pulled those trays out so that I could pack even more gear in here. I just pile it in, but I still try to be pretty organized. Let me get behind the camera and I'll just walk you through what we've got here. All right, so main boxes down the center, and then I literally just stuff what I can around the edges. Okay, our wake baits laying on top. This one's labeled TN Glides, Tennessee Glide Baits. These are Matt Allen swim bait heads. Mostly what's in there. Rocco's, more crankbaits, ATV crankbaits. How much have you heard me talk about those this spring? Rocco's and ATVs. I literally built boxes for each of them. That's how much I fell in love with those baits. Jackal lipless. That could just say TN on it, right? TN70, TN60. I love those things. Jackhammers. Spring square bill. Lipless #1. So jackals, that's specific, right? Lipless #1 is going to be everything from like a Lucky Craft to a Spro to a Strike King. It's just a mixed box. My rock crawlers, tactical DD75s. That's our crankbait. And then Speed Demons up there at the top. That's a newer Spro crank that I fell in love with there as well. You guys getting a handle on this? I'm out of control with my tackle. One thing you'll realize, literally everything in here this time of year, power fishing. I like to power fish. If I need to slow down or if I've got funky weather, I grab a couple more boxes and I throw them in. But for the most part, I'm going. Let's keep looking. More rock crawlers. And then tail spinners. I love my tail spins. This is leader material. You guys always see us talking about that Sunline shock leader. There it is, I carry it all in the boat. Same down here. So, I've got GoPro batteries piled up, and then I've got my Maxima leader as well. So this is mono leader, that's fluorocarbon shock leader. Blade baits, Vision 110s, Shimano jerk baits, Vision 110 Juniors, and the X Nanahans. So 3 boxes of jerk baits, blade baits, Volts, so that's also blade baits, and then my little bait finesse cranks. You gotta love that. But it's incredible what all you can pack in these boxes. Look at this one. This is insane. How awesome is that? Jackals, Freedom Tackle, Demikis, Blade Runner. I keep it simple, but I mean, not simple, right? Boatloads and boatloads of tailspins and blade baits. But it's amazing what you can get in these boxes and keep organized. And then up front there, that last box, that's more glide baits. Oh, there's another lipless box under it. But this one's labeled Chick Glides, Chickamauga Glide Baits. There's a Gancraft, S-Wavers, Bait Sanity Antidotes, and then G-Rats. Pistol Pete's, and I've got some Sneaky Pete's in a different box. And then last, oh, this is awesome. You guys have to see this. This is how I'm storing spinnerbaits now. I love this setup. It has saved me so much room. I've got them in these soft bags. So the Shimano's that Swagey Strong. Nickels with the glitter blades. I don't know if you can see the glitter on those blades. They're amazing. White blades. White and chartreuse. Did you guys know I'm fanatical about spinnerbaits too? Nickels with the flashing blades. They're unreal. Demikis, Mega Bass, my red blades, and then just shad blades. But I'm able to take all those spinnerbaits, cases and cases of spinnerbaits, put them in these little flat bags, and just stack them off to the side in here. It's so convenient. I love it. All right, the next box. This is where I keep all my soft baits. When I'm fishing alone, this literally balances me out on the boat. It's springtime. Like I said, I'm mostly power fishing. Spunk shad. Spunk shad. Spunk shad. Complete opposite of how I store on my jet boat or when I'm traveling. On the bass boat, it's excess, right? I want to be perfectly prepared for every situation. These are the specific swim baits that I like to have on my A-rigs as the water is warming up in spring. There's my actual A-rigs. This is very similar grab and go to what I have in the jet boat. It's a mixed container, swammers, Largo shads, Kitex. And then down here, this is 2.8 and 3.3 Kitex. This one is all Largo shads. This is mixed soft plastics, creature baits, Senkos, things of that nature. Just a little bit of everything. Kitex and spark shads, from easy shiners all the way up to 4.8 Kitex. And then this is the rest of my chatterbait trailers. 4 bags of chatterbait trailers in this boat, but that's a major thing for me in the spring. I'll literally have more than one chatterbait rod rigged up on the deck at all times. Sometimes I'll have 3 or 4 of them. So while it seems crazy to have, 100 bags of chatterbait trailers in the boat, they're for different situations, different colors, different sizes, they're all different. And then the last of this, Magdraft Freestyles, Finesse jig trailers, Flukes, and other soft jerk baits. And then I've got hula grubs as well. Hula grubs, that was from a recent trip where I was fishing a Highland reservoir, and I wanted something even finessier than my standard jigs. That's how that one got in the boat. But that is the extent of the tackle. Let me get all this crammed back in here. We'll jump over to the other side and I'll walk you through the rods. All right, we're almost through it. Again, huge difference between the boats, right? When I'm on that jet boat, I'm like, I need 1 pack of this chatterbait trailer, 1 pack of that chatterbait trailer. Give me a white, give me a chartreuse, give me something ghosty. I'm good. But when I get on the bass boat, I want a 4.5 spunk shad and green pumpkin chartreuse. I also want a 5.5 spunk shad and green pumpkin chartreuse. I also want chartreuse white. I also want orange. I want Junebug. I want black and blue, right? I'm very dialed in because I have the space. I'm able to do it, so I carry those things with me. That show on the back of this boat is not struggling because there's a little bit of extra tackle in here. Maybe I'll lose a mile or 2 an hour off the top end. I'm not running wide open anyway. It doesn't matter. I like to cruise down the lake. I'm not trying to break my gear. Now, you get me in the back of the creek, tell me to get over a log, I'm trying to break my gear, but not when I'm out running down the lake. I like to just cruise. So over here, we've got the rod locker, 2 layers of rods. I'm literally gonna show you what I have tied on. Let's take a look. All right, up top, A-rig. And I talk to you guys about this all the time, how I store this in that standard rod sleeve and I just slide it down over the rig and it collapses the whole thing. See, as I'm messing with it, it's opening up. But I pinch that thing and I can bury that rig in there and it won't mess up my other rods at all. I'll put that back in a second. Next one, ATV square bill. Next one, jackhammer chatterbait. Tactical DD. There's a chatterbait rod, but there's nothing on it. Demiki Vault blade bait. 8-inch Magdraft. I've got plans for that one later today. We've got Jackal TN70 in a ghost color. We've got a Bear swim bait. That's a swammer down there. Chartreuse and blue. Spro rock crawler. And another Jackal TN70. But that one's bright and bold. Look how much room is left in that rod locker. Tons and tons of room in there. I could put another 8, 10 rods in it, no problem. But guys, that is how I store my gear. So again, to recap, you know, there's some stuff I didn't even talk about. These different boxes. Some of my boxes are thin boxes. Some of them are deep boxes. Like you'll see a lot of stuff like my Jackal lipless box. That's a deep box. It's incredible how much you can get in a deep box. If you're trying to pack your tackle in to get more tackle to fit, I would spend the vast majority of my time with deep boxes and thin boxes rather than just standard boxes. Standard boxes are great. And sometimes you fill them to the brim, like the tail spinners I showed you, filled to the brim. But there's a lot of times that there's dead space in there, especially if you're using crankbaits or something like that. You can get them into a thin box and then you get so much more out of it. I use deep boxes when I'm gonna pack them full. I use thin boxes when I'm just putting a little bit of stuff in there. And that together allows me to really fill my rod locker. I use a lot of different kinds of boxes, right? Different brands of boxes for different things. But all in all, I shouldn't even try to claim I keep it simple. I guess I don't, but I keep it organized. And that's important because time on the water should be spent fishing, not digging, looking for tackle. In the video description, I'll link you some of these different boxes. Like you saw that terminal box I used from Plano, these deep Busbies. You saw the Busby that I had packed to the gills with tail spinners. These flat bags that I put all my spinner baits in. Those large clear tubs that I use for storing Kitex, because storing Kitex is a nightmare. Anything in those clamshells is so tough, but I find those big tubs are the perfect shape that I can get 4 stacks of Kitex in them, fill them up with no wasted space. It's really nice and you can stay very, very organized. And then all those soft bags that you saw all my soft plastics in, those things are a dream. And those are, I don't know that they're waterproof. They're definitely water resistant. They might even be waterproof. But these quick cubes, I mean, they rock. I've got tons of these things. It's an investment, right? You can spend as much on your tackle storage solutions as you can spend on the tackle itself. Seriously. Tackle boxes, good ones, are insanely expensive. But you get what you pay for, and your tackle is an investment. Keeping it dry, keeping it protected is a huge deal. So a few years ago, I started investing in high-end boxes. Even like my traditional boxes that I've had forever, they're still all waterproof boxes. They all have a gasket on them because I do not want to ever rust out my tackle again. I've been through it. I don't ever want to do it again. All right, guys, again, I'll link a bunch of this stuff down in the video description for you. If anything jumped out, if it's something that's not down there, you have a question, feel free to ask. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. This is how I store my tackle. This is what I'm really fishing with this spring. It's the same stuff we've been telling you we use, but it's a whole different deal when you get to see it for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.